All right. Bowlstream should be up and running here. Pretty big move in the market today. All right, we'll be going over that. Going over today's plays. Now, just as a disclaimer, you guys may know if you've been watching the market wrap for some time. Large gaps in the market, not really my favorite kind of days. But we'll kind of walk through the day, show kind of what there was out there, I thought. That was kind of worth doing. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Good afternoon. This is Ifan from the Strategic Day Trader, and this is your market wrap for December 7th, 2021. Q's up 3%, SPY up 2.04, and IWM 2.3. We talked about over yesterday's high, then we would no longer be bearish, all right, and especially for some of these, the like SPY and the IWM, which had 100% retracement from that last sell setup, was looking more likely that that was going to be the case. We also pointed out that the Qs, which was the title for yesterday's video, doing that weekly buy setup here. That's why when we watch these downtrends in the market, we are very short-term thinking, because we are, these at least, pullbacks are against the larger time frame. So they're expected to be short-lived. All right, so what did we do this morning? We gapped up over the top of the resistance there that we had outlined yesterday. I thought Q's kind of had the nicest little sell setup. It did trigger, so I said over today's high, no longer bearish. And then I said yesterday, just watch out for, if we do take it out, I didn't think we would gap up large, but if we took it out and then sold right back down, then we would remain bearish. But what did we do? We gapped up, and then we kind of did a trend day. Just continued up higher through the rest of the day, that weekly buy setup kicking in. Okay. So I thought we were, pretty prepared for today in regards to market bias. It's hard to see these large gaps coming in the market. I think Q's was like 1.6 maybe, and SPY was like 1.3. I don't remember where they exactly opened up at. So going into tomorrow, we're going to be bullish, but we need to see a meaningful pullback. I don't know. I wouldn't really consider this bottoming tail really a meaningful pullback. If we base longer and we get a pullback, that would be good. Now, to be fair, in the last couple times that we've had these reversals like this, we kind of just went, okay? So, last time we did something very similar here, a gap up, we in the downtrend, and then we just go. There aren't a lot of patterns to work with, and especially pullbacks, okay? So while I would expect one, or that's I think where the optimal entry would be as far as playing long Qs or SPY, it doesn't mean that we'll get it, okay? But I think the important thing is here, no longer bearish on the Qs and SPY. All right, and the longer that we base here, the more bullish. All right. All right, let's get into today's play. So when I get a large gap up in the market, I really prefer to focus on the gap down, the stocks that are gapping down. If we get a large gap down in the market, I prefer focusing on the stocks that are gapping up, so I know that they're on their own page. Okay, and it's hard to tell which stocks are gapping more because of the market, or wouldn't be gapping if the market wasn't gapping. So, did the INTC maybe gap a little bit more because some of the other semis were also gapping up? I mean, it did gap up right into resistance, okay? So, that's the kind of thing that we are questioning, right? Now, on the gap downs, right, we know something like the HQY is going to probably gap, if, given the news, I think they reported earnings, whether the market was gapping up or down was probably going to gap down. Okay, the same goes for the Merck and the AZN. So this is really what I was focused on in the morning. And because they didn't really set up, I didn't really get any plays on them. So it was a very kind of quiet morning. Got to do lots of scanning, but didn't really get a lot of plays here. So AZN, I wanted to see a breakdown underneath this bar, underneath this base, and then we did get another breakdown here, but what I didn't like was that we kind of went from the stop to the entry really quick. So it's not that it's too quick, it's just that it's one move. Okay, so that means a lot of selling got used up. So usually what happens is you'll get another chance at it here. Okay, so what's going to happen next is people who shorted aggressively up here just saw, a really fluid move. They're probably going to cover some, right? And then that's where you get the bounce. And then you can usually play this base. Not sure what I moved on to, what else I was watching, but ended up, I did not catch that little breakdown there. It didn't really make that much. I think it made, about an R, and then you can see it got bought afterwards. So that's something that we saw today, is that because the market held up so well and never really pulled in at all, a lot of the short ideas never really, after the initial move, never really gave another one. Okay, GTLB was one because I really like this daily. Okay, this is one I was looking to play, taking out, well, I guess it came right, here's the GTLB, took out the bottom there. Okay, so looking lower, looking pretty damaged on this chart, right? I guess that's all-time lows now on this. So, was watching this, but kind of gave one breakdown here, and then that was it. So a lot of the short ideas didn't get much follow through after the initial move. Okay, so because we got the gap up and go and the trend day and the Qs, that kept a lot of from working. There are going to be some, of course, that are uptrending nicely and then continue to go. So really nice call from Sammy on this. Was on the mic and then kind of looked like it wasn't going to trigger at first, right? And then went right back up, and then looked like a shakeout. Sammy had already canceled it when it came in, and then that's when I said, watch to see, this will probably get recalled because that's just a shakeout, makes it even better. And sure enough, he called it, and that was ended up being a pretty nice play, follow through there. But it's really hard on days like today to know which ones are going to be the ones. We saw that INTC. The COMM, I think at times looked like it was going to break out along with the market, right? And then had some follow through. But you can see it ended up closing kind of a lot, as far as the intraday pattern, a lot weaker than the market. So, if the market hadn't been gapping up so much, COMM should still be expected to be on its own page. But then the kind of flip side to that is that this may come in even if the market doesn't. So that's why I find, days like today really tough. There were some pretty strong items, and you would think that anything that you played today long would have closed strong with the market or also had a trend day, and that's not always the case. So that's why I find today's pretty challenging, and why you're not going to see me usually call a lot of plays on days like today. We don't get them that much, gaps of larger than 1.5% in the market. I mean, last year we got it definitely more than I'm used to seeing because of the pandemic. But it's not typical. And especially you look at this grind up that we have, there are not a lot of large gaps that in the market in either direction. Okay, so you can see this one, what we got today, definitely stands out. Just the amount of empty space, which is indicative of the gap that we got today. Okay. All right, but hope you did well, or at least stayed out of trouble. All right, we're going to be bullish going into tomorrow. All right, we'll see what kind of pattern we get tomorrow, what kind of gaps. We're definitely out of earnings season. We're getting closer and closer to the holiday season. So as I've been reiterating for the last couple of weeks, quality over quantity. Okay? All right, hope you had a nice day today. We'll be back at it tomorrow, and I will talk to you then. Have a good evening.